I do have a deep love for the presence of pyrotechnics within the rock and metal spheres in the music world, and I've certainly been to many live shows where there's been exquisite displays and music videos as well. So, in engaging with the thumbnail of Find Life and seeing some fire, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a fun watch. I hope for that in terms of if there's a visualizer component of a song through Spotlight here, it makes the experience more memorable. Even though, again, the music in itself, speaks exquisitely of the talents at this point that I've humored and recognized on this channel. There's not been one tune that I've not liked. And Amaranth going in, I knew would be such an occasion, right? I'd already been, as I said in the previous video, familiarized to them through a couple of their earlier works. Though I forgot about this at the time that I attributed and promised that eventually we'll get to Amaranth on the channel. I'm finally making good on that. I've been meaning to for a long while. Earlier on, I'd humored, trying to make a selection of tracks I'd picked from just going off memory. There's one I can't remember, and then 365, GG6, and 82nd all the way. So I knew going into covering Amaranth, though at one time I'd thought, oh, they're fresh, I'm like, but why is their name familiar? Because I had heard them before. I just forgot about it. Until I went to determine what's the selection of tracks I wish to spotlight, and I saw in passing the thumbnail for 365. I'm like, oh, that group. I remember them, and I loved them. I was like, it's a pretty strong piece, but now that I've heard it again, I've gotten a better perspective on some of the individual members as well. Let's say, for example, because I can't credit him enough on his talents, Niels Johan Molin on the vocal prowess. Again, some of you might remember with Ad Infinitum, I had the introduction to him in greater depth beyond just, again, the 365 regard, which I'd forgotten at the time. He was a part of Amaranth, and that was technically my first introduction to him, not Afterlife, but he was a wonderful presence there, and I'm like, immediately, okay, Amaranth at some point is coming, as well as the other group is associated to. I have to look into them yet. I haven't selected the tracks for them, but Dynasty, I'll look into them eventually as well, probably. We'll see. There's many groups I have to get to, and you've certainly, generally speaking, provided a lot in the way of recommendations, and I appreciate that as I delve into my greater comprehension and enhance it within the European metal and rock scenes, and many of you know how much I love this space. I can't get enough of it. I can speak all the credit in the world in regards to the broad range of talents I've consulted on this channel, which, as I've said many times, music for me, favorite art form and first love in my life, and I've wanted to bring it on as a mainstay presence for quite some time, and over 2023, that's evolving even more beautifully than I thought it would originally, more than I initially dreamed it could. Especially on the fellowship quality that music provides, it's been a real envy of a dream to humor, and to see it finally materialize in a way where we're enjoying music together, perhaps maybe just in regaling of the comments, the stories that we can share, because it's not necessarily a physical collaborative experience of enjoyment, but it's something. And I like the feeling that, again, I'm providing the perspective to some of you who are established Amaranth fans, and you've been fans of them for longer than I have, but perhaps paving routes for some people that haven't humored them yet. Maybe you've heard the name Amaranth, to be fair. They get pretty good circulation from what I've seen, but maybe you've never listened to them before. I'm planting seeds for you to perhaps explore another exquisite talent, in my opinion, because we just entertained PvP together, and I love the creativeness of that piece. I mean, it's very energetic, and again, I have to question, this is now the fourth group, to my memory, that I have inquired on in regards to Swedish metal artists. Is it a common factor in music culture in the metal scene out there that everybody has an electronic integration? Because Dead by April, Metalite, Fall of a Cypher, and Animavale are all like that. So, Amaranth, we're adding them in, and they have a real electronic basis and flair to their work as well. Is that just common? Or is it just some surprising coincidence? I don't know. I mean, electronic integration, I never used to be a big EDM guy, and I'm still kind of not when in isolation, but when used in the metal scene, especially when paired to a background tune, I've been really charmed. And at this point, again, with every Swedish artist in regard, including Amaranth, I've been very happy. Some real creativity, strong work on behalf of, as well, the percussion basis, and that was a point of familiarity as well. Some of you remember what I said as much. I was intending to cover Amaranth in connection to The Dark Side of the Moon, but I'd humored them in advance, and alongside Ad Infinitum and Feuerschwangs, that being a super group of some of the members of each of the entities I just mentioned, Amaranth is the only one I haven't gotten to yet publicly. Some of which, Feuerschwangs, I'm still working through in terms of coverage, and they're really good, but it was my intention to some point cover a group that I'd heard a while ago, but I had forgotten about by name, and then was reminded for 3 pieces, and I'm like, this is pretty good. And in terms of selection of what I've determined, as I said in the last video, It's limited right now. I might expand it with some of the tracks from Exodus. We'll see, because I've only picked like 4, and including one from Exodus because Crystalline will be next. The orchestral version is what provoked the interest to look back on the original, but we might evolve. We'll see. No promises, but maybe. Because I'm like, 3 songs isn't really that much. And I usually tend to give ever groups a little more. So I'm like, maybe Amaranth deserves that, to be fair. I can't wait to engage further with them for Find Life again to see the pyrotechnic influence. This might be a great music video to humor. And I hope to introduce you to another talent. If perhaps you're somebody that is looking to venture out in the world. Again, I can't speak enough in fond reverence to the European scene. I think you're going to be thrilled. And I can't wait to share my first impression with those of you who are knowledgeable Amaranth fans. You've been longer in that credit than I've been. And I'm just kind of first arriving right in that capacity. I hope we all have a great time together as we enjoy music in creative expression, which I know will be fulfilling. I mean, this is Amaranth. I'm thrilled. Even though, as of this track, as I understand, I have looked at the lyrics, I understand why he departed. I'm not going to, of course, fault him of that, right? Everybody has a life to live, but it is kind of sad that Enrique, as far as I'm concerned, is no longer a part of the group with this track, because his scream vocal was so signature. And I loved, especially on PvP, the pacing of it. Oh, man. Gnarly. Loved every minute of it. But this is very, from my understanding, heavy on Elise and Nils. Can't wait to hear both of them. It's to be exquisite. If you've never humored them before, I think you're going to be in for a fun ride, especially on Nils. I love hearing him sing. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Find Life and the video that accompanied it. And if you're not familiar with my coverage, maybe my content's new to you, I do try and accommodate listener taste to the best extent I can. So alongside the video, you will also have the lyrics provided to you if you wish to read along. You don't have to go and pull up a separate tab or anything. They're going to be in the video feed, and you'll see them as soon as the song commences pop up. And they'll succeed with the song as we go through it together. Okay, here we go. Yeah, a real electronic pop flair. Kind of karaoke, too. Oh boy. That really got emboldened. And I'm digging it.
The air is purified. I step on solemn ground, but it is not enough. No. Cause not yet satisfied till I see that flash in your eyes, reverse indifference. And you cannot deny what I have sacrificed.
I can't get enough of Nils. See? Oh man, with that background. Love it. So great to finally spotlight them on the channel. Especially if a new song, man, this is good. Such a strong work of theirs.
A resurrection of the principles of what's right, a justice theory. And so I have denied, disrupted paradise. I taste the serpent's body.
Oh, that's a creative line. There's a lot of good writing to be fair, but that one sticks out. Softer break now than I expected. Of course, it's pretty swift re-entrance. But that's a nice variation, though. Unexpected detours. I'm quite charmed by that. Gives the piece a lot of personality. And for Amaranth, oh. Spoken in sentence, in fact. The overlay is just... it's perfect. That was wonderful in terms of an experience. See why I love music in terms of it being a collaborative enjoyment, especially on first introduction. You never know sometimes what you're going to get. Well, you have presumptions, but you don't understand the reality until you fully entertain it of how your expectations will be satisfied or exceeded. You know, I do miss Enrique, and he would have been a great fit to this song, but Nils and Elise, the collaborative force. I mean, I'm tempted to say, I don't know if they're presently searching for another member to fulfill the Scream role, but they made a piece that is good in standalone fashion, especially since this highlights the potential of the overlap between both of them as individual singers with incredible ranges and styles. Again, I love the unique flair that Nils produces with his tonality, but Elise, I knew she could get pretty high based on, again, like past songs, 365, GG6, stuff like that, but it's that overlay. There's just something really special about that. I didn't expect as well paced with the tone and the energy that that piece takes. It's like how do I describe it? It's like dance karaoke rock in a way. That's just so fascinating, and probably credit to that goes not only to the keyboard effects as well. That's certainly unemployed. There's a real technological emphasis here. And again, is that a mainstay in Swedish rock music? I don't know. But Morton as well, you could hear the distinctive percussion work. And for the rapidity of that song, it works beautifully. Mesh with the pyrotechnics too. It's highly energetic and engaging. Easy welcome presence from them as a single. It's a great one-off. And I would, I'm going to say right now, again, I'm still saying technically no promises, but I'm really leaning to broadening out my scope of what I want to cover of Amaranth, because 4 tracks just is not enough, at least in consideration. I want to humor them more. So don't be surprised if, I decide to go through with adding on more in coverage with Exodus. Because I would love to entertain more of their listens, even if I'm digging back a bit. I'm going off of the most recent offerings in consideration. If there was something else new, I'd have easily spotlight that. And as far as I'm concerned, doors open. But a good selection of pieces, I think, is warranted with Exodus. So don't be surprised if that appears. Because I'd love to have an experience of you and maybe provide you this perspective as somebody who, again, is venturing to some new exploration. Not entirely uninformed, right? Given my history, as I've stated. But as much as I had to correct the record on that, because I forgot. But I'd love to be able to share in that enjoyment with you. Perhaps, again, if you're a prospective new fan of theirs, or you will be. I think you will be. I'm tempted. I don't like to speak for anybody, but I would imagine listening to Find Life, if you're into independent characterization and part of song's originality, Find Life, and maybe this is, again, like I said, maybe I haven't dug enough into Amaranth to understand that this is a mainstay if it is in respect to them, but that dance karaoke rock metal vibe, that was so interesting, especially with the vocal pairings and the ranges, the increases on that rise line, and strong writing on the verses too, but Nils and Elise, I can't get enough of them. That overlap is... I would love to hear more. That was the case with PvP. That was perfect, in my opinion. That was such a highly energetic piece, and most of their work is, but Find Life just has such unique character to it. Man, it's an energetic listen. See why I love music. It's just such a fun ride. At this point, as I've said many times, I cover a broad range. If you're familiarized with my work, right, you'll attest that I look at a variety of art forms, but music generally just always delivers, especially in the European landscape. I can't get enough of it, for good reason. Amaranth certainly deserves every acclaim they get on styling and craft. I'm very impressed. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, if whatever angle you come from as well. New listener of theirs, long-time listener. I'm sure there's going to be many of you in that regard, I know, because again, they've got a good circulation of their popularity and they deserve it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the piece down below, right? And the angle, if you wish to disclose that. I'm definitely thinking of increasing coverage. Of course, Crystalline is incoming, both versions. I know that one for sure. But don't be surprised if Amaranth becomes a prominent presence here. I want to hear more. I mean, this is the quality of, like, Find Life and PvP. I'm sure we're going to have a really great time. Maybe, again, I base this on my assumption, or my earlier experiences with GG6, 82nd all the way. Okay, for the most part with Exodus, maybe some exception, including 82nd all the way, because I've already heard that one. I wish I hadn't, because I could have covered it with you, and that would have been great, because I loved it the first time I heard it too. But, that would have been great to have a shared experience with that piece as well. I would highly recommend it if you're not engaged with it. But I think back with GG6, 365, and that other one I forget at the moment, I'll clarify by the time I film the next video, I loved all those pieces. So going in, I knew Amaranth would be great. PvP was like that, Find Life, the character, the fun factor, and the imagination on part again of the vocal styles and the blending. Just, I can't get enough of it. I want to hear more. Both Elise and, of course, Nils. I love hearing Nils. I just love sitting back and listening to him sing. But that pairing, I gotta hear more of it. It works so well for the song, but with the dance karaoke energy blended into such a strong metal basis, and especially on the T's going in and structuring, it starts out so soft and then just instantly rushes right in. It's so perfect. Man, I love Find Life. Exquisite number from them. A lot of fun to entertain. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.